G'day, Harry, back in the shed. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, do whatever it is you got to do. If you're liking what I'm doing, leave a comment. If you're not liking what I'm doing, even more so, leave a comment. I'm back working on the Silverado. We spent a couple of months mucking around with the Patrol, got that all up and running. So it's about time. I want to get the whole front end back together so we can put the wheels on and at least get the chassis working again. So you can see I've had my control arms sandblasted and powder coated. So before we can attach all them, we've got to press in all the bushes, the ball joints for the upper control arms. They get bolted on and the brake lines have to be attached. So I'm just going to get into it and see how far we get this episode. So I've got the upper and lower control arms on the one side, trying to put the spindles on. This is the original spindle. I'm actually putting what they call a drop spindle on. So you can see, had this spindle on my left here, actually has the spindle that's 3 inches higher up from the base of the spindle, so that'll effectively lower the front of the truck by 3 inches automatically. What I've also done is send the original springs off to a specialist to have the springs cut and retension, so we know they're going to hold the weight of the truck and provide the same sort of suspension reliability by 3 inches as well. So overall we're looking to drop the front of this truck 6 inches. The spindles I got from Beltec, I've also ordered up and received a kit to lower the rear of the vehicle by 8 inches. So it should level the truck out. Normally these things from the factory had a bit of a rake to them. Was about 2 inches or around about 50 mil. So this will get the truck sitting nice and level and looking pretty low. These spindles were designed to work with the 16-inch wheels and tyre combo that these trucks would have had back in the 90s, and my plan is to stick with that combo. I like the taller tyre, it makes it more trucky in my mind anyway. I know at the moment it's really fashionable to go up to like the 22s or have semi-trailer wheels milled down from 22.5s with little rubber bandy tyres. But I'm really liking, just in my head, really liking the thought of this thing having a really high profile tyre with that polished aluminium rim on it. So we'll start getting these things fitted up. And you know, we'll have to get the spring in and all that, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so that's about as difficult as it gets to put that on. One thing I want to mention while I'm doing this, I'm just doing everything up finger tight to get it all together. Once I've got everything in place, then I've got to go over absolutely everything, tighten them all up, put all the split pins in. There's crown nuts holding the spindle on. Once I get the bearings on here to put the hubs on, there's a crown nut with split pins here, so because you've got to make sure none of this is going to come apart. So yeah, as I say, just doing everything up finger tight. I haven't tightened any of these bolts holding the swing arms in. These are all just finger tight at the moment, because we're not actually moving the truck. I want to get it all together, make sure I've got the right bits in the right spot, because as you guys know, I'm half a Yutz, probably a complete Yutz, and that way I'm not going to cause myself any grief as I go along. So yeah, stay tuned. Right, here we go again. A seal goes into caliper. Look at that. This goes over top of the piston, down to Okay, now, a bit of rubber grease. Seal. Now, in theory, this should just push in. Going in like so. There we go. Let's seat the dust boot down. And that's how easy it should be to rebuild one of these calipers. Time to do the tie rods. So basically what I'm going to do when I pull them out is count how many winds come out, and then I'll put them in the same. I mean, obviously this thing's going to need a wheel alignment once it does get back on the road, but it's a good place to start. So that's why I'm doing it this way. And I'm going to leave everything, like everything else, leave it all loose till I at least get this thing back on the ground and tighten it all up then. So just give this collar a little bit of a clean up, slap some paint on it, and put it in the car. And my nose is running terribly today. There we go. The front end is basically all back together. I am still waiting on shock absorbers and a steering damper. I've ordered them from the US, so they're going to still take a while to get here. It has been a lot of work to get it to this stage, just because I figured I got so much apart, I might as well just clean everything up. So I've painted the chassis rails. I've had the lower and upper control arm sandblasted and powder coated along with the sway bar. I've also chucked a whole bunch of little bits and pieces, you know, the backing plates and the links for the tie rods into my own little sandblasting cabinet here, and given them a good lick of paint. You know, the brake calipers have been rebuilt with new seal kits in them, new brake pads, new brake lines are in it. So I think there wouldn't be too much to worry about once we do start getting this back on the road. Obviously, I've got to go through the whole front and make sure everything's tight, get all the split pins in, and everything's where it should be. And then we're going to attack the rear suspension because I want to lower the back of the truck as well. I don't want that 70s style Starsky and Hutch rake going on at all. In the meantime, if you do have any questions for me, feel free, put them in the comments section. If I've got something wrong, let me know. Always happy to learn. I know there's a lot of people out there with a lot more knowledge about these or any other type of vehicle out there than little old me. But yeah, I really appreciate you watching, and hopefully you'll tune into the next thing I do on Harry's Big Shed.